guys, and welcome to Vegan Diver Cat. Today I'm starting a new series which is called Dive Stories. In this series I want to share with you my personal experiences, little stories from my dive career to help you become better divers, better dive masters, better instructors, and just share the love. I would also love to hear your dive stories down below. And yeah, thank you so much to everyone who voted on this week's topic. It is about panicked divers. Now, I have several stories about panicked divers, so this is part 1 of 3, and this is panicked divers because of sharks. Just before we get started, please make sure to join the family. Head on over to the Facebook group, head on over to Patreon. We have tons of fun behind the scenes, and there you get to see a situation where I became panicked from sharks. So let's get into it. So this is a couple of years ago. I'm not going to get into details about exactly where or what dive company I was with, but I was an instructor and I was working. Now, I had several divers under my wing, and I had to decide on groups on who goes with who. This particular day, we were going to a relatively deep dive spot, so we're going to about 23 meters, and it is very common to see sharks in this area. Most people love seeing sharks. I love seeing sharks, and it was part of the briefing that we were going to see sharks. But I do want to share with you guys what things to look out for someone who's going to be panicked, what happened, and then what I did to kind of de-escalate the situation. So the first thing you want to look out for is divers who are relatively new, who haven't dived for a very long time. It is normal to get some sort of anxiety before diving, especially if it's been a while since your last dive and you didn't get a refresher, or which you always should get a refresher if you're uncertain. That is something to look out for. So if you know your dive buddy hasn't dived for maybe 6-7 months, and before then they only had a handful of dives, just keep that in mind. If you're an instructor, the next thing is any unusual behavior on the boat. So if you know this person, if this is your friend, your family member, if they're more talkative or less talkative, if they're asking a lot of specific questions like, how's the current, and do you think it's going to get worse, and how long are we going to be down there for, and how dark is it going to be, and do I need my light, and do I need the spin, and do I need the mask strap? If they're asking a lot of small questions, this is typically a sign that they're nervous about the situation. The best thing you can do at these points when you notice a change of behavior, them asking a lot of questions, and potentially are new divers, then sit down with them before the dive and have a chat. Just say, hey, I just wanted to check in, see how you're doing, and go through the whole process, because not everyone is comfortable to go diving, and you never want to peer pressure anyone, so make sure to kind of be kind and compassionate. Remember when it was a few of your first dives, and it can get quite scary going out under the water. It's a very unnatural thing, so it is very normal to have some level of, by kind of approaching the incident at the beginning, you can stop it from getting worse. So that's kind of part 1. Oh, stop before we get further into this panic diver story. I just want to let you guys know this video is sponsored by Leaf Shave. Thank you so much. This is an amazing plastic-free razor with which you can shave and save the planet. So you don't need to use single-use plastics. You don't even need to use those reusable plastic clip-on things. All you need to do is have this fantastic, beautiful, ergonomic, comfortable, easy-to-use razor that you can switch out the blades and save the planet, save money, and have a smooth shave for men and women alike. So head on over, get yourself one, and let's get back to the panic diver. Part 2 is because I did see some of these signs, I thought, hey, a really good idea is to buddy this person up who was relatively a new diver, maybe had 20-30 dives, with a dive master. So this dive master would have had about 80 to 100 dives, would have gone through the training with us. So I thought buddying them up will be a good idea to make sure that this person feels safe. If anything happens, then the dive master will know how to approach the situation and how to de-escalate. Yeah, so usually those 2 steps should be enough, but it was my fault that I didn't take into account all the different variables. One of these variables, of course, was this was one of our first times going to dive with the sharks that season, and this dive master brought a camera. Now, he was not working, and this wasn't a student, so it wasn't illegal to bring a camera, because when you are teaching, you're not meant to have a camera just in case, for reasonable responsibility and reliability. It wasn't illegal to bring a camera. However, I would have preferred, of course, if he focused a little bit less on the camera, a little bit more on this customer. What happened is, after we descended, I had a group of about 4 or 5 divers with me. They were students, so I was taking care of them. We descended just after this buddy team who had started swimming towards the sharks. Now, as we were descending, I was taking care of my students. I already saw the person having some anxiety symbols underwater. You could see this through kind of unusual body movements, trying to get their buddy's attention, unusual airflows, and just like a little bit unsure with like making sure that their buoyancy control device is properly inflated, deflated, a little bit of buoyancy issues. It was just, she wasn't that comfortable, and you could see underwater as well. So in this situation, I was like, okay, I've already made these calls, I've sent her with this dive master, and I could see him already starting to swim off with the camera, really excitedly to go see if the sharks were there. So they were getting a little bit further and further away. Now, if you guys don't know, I always say you should be an arm's reach from your dive buddy, just in case anything does go wrong. You can just tap him and resolve the issue straight away. So he was getting a little further away. He was an arm's reach and a half, 2 arms reach, 3 arms reach. So this was, of course, adding to that person's anxiety. At this point, I thought, okay, best thing I could do is get my students to stay really close to me, and we follow. And I try and catch up with her. At this point, we were descending down and down. We were getting down to about 23 meters. We had done our equalizing. If you want to hear more about equalizing, check out last week's video. Thank you guys so much for liking it, by the way. So we were going down and down, and we kept swimming. They were still not too close to one another. I was with my group. I was maybe only 2-3 meters behind this buddy team. And then the sharks came into view. Now, I think in this situation, it was just that one straw that breaks the camel's back, as they say. Panic underwater doesn't just happen. It happens through a series of events that are not taken care of before they escalate. So they escalated. She was nervous on the boat. She was a relatively new diver. Underwater, she felt a little bit rushed by her dive buddy to get to the dive site first. She wasn't that confident. She felt her dive buddy getting further away. She couldn't quite communicate with him as well as she would like. And then bam, she saw the sharks, and I could see that was too much for her. Sharks are very placid, docile. They're very exciting to swim with over there. But they're minding their own business. So in no way was she in danger. All of us were going to go see the sharks, but it was these factors which accumulated and just freaked her out. And I could see she tried to signal at her buddy, so she was doing these things, and then she started to bolt. So bolting for the surface is one of the most dangerous things that a customer or a student or a diver or you can do, and that is because as you go up, if you have been diving for a long time, you can get decompression illness. This is from the nitrogen in your body expanding and potentially causing blockages, aneurysms, all sorts of stuff. Can get into a bit of the basics of decompression illness in a different video. Let me know if that's something you'd like to see. Anyway, so she was starting to bolt. If people are panicked, they also typically hold their breath, and as they go up, holding their breath, the volume changes because of the pressure change decreasing. Their volume will increase in their lungs, and it can cause ruptures and dangerous things like that. So it's the last thing you want a student, customer, friend, buddy, or you to do. Luckily, by this point, I was 1.5 meters behind her, so I lunged forwards. I grabbed her. turned around, and communicated. And this was all she wanted. So she had done all the right things. She had tried to communicate with her buddy. She tried to show her discomfort. And as soon as I had hold of her, she had bolted by this point, maybe 1.5 meters, 2 meters. So she had started going up, but wasn't in any real danger. I had grabbed her, turned her around to me, and said, "Are you okay?" At this point, she had massive eyes, huge eyes, which is basically the only part of a body you can see the eyes, because we're wearing masks and everything. And she was freaking out, and she was saying, "I want to go up, I want to go up." And I said, "Stop, take a few deep breaths. Are you feeling okay? If you want to go up, we gotta go slowly." And she was just like, "Okay." I could see her taking breaths. I could see her like processing what I was communicating with her. She knew the theory, so she knew it was very important to not go up too fast. And me touching her, me having my hand on her, was calming her down. At this point, my other dive master was watching my students. I turned around, checked that they were all good, and I told them, can stay there. They were, I think, advanced or rescue, so they were already certified divers, so I could leave them unattended for a minute. And I just checked with her, like, "Are you okay? What would you like to do?" And she just said, "I want to go up." So I was like, "Okay, we can go up, but slowly." So, sorry, my alarm's going. I'm back. She said, "I want to go up, but slowly." So I was holding her the whole time, keeping eye contact, and we were going up slowly, bit by bit. And once we reached the surface, I made sure to inflate her BCD straight away, inflated mine, of course, and then started the communication. "Are you okay? I saw you got a little freaked out. It's all good. Do you want to take a few breaths down up here and then go down with me? Or what do you want to do?" So at these points, after a person's panic, it's really important to not force them to do anything, to provide support, to be caring. But yeah, they need to make the decision for themselves whether they want to carry on the dive or not. She decided she didn't want to do the dive. I think by this point, the dive master with the camera had seen the situation and had followed us up. I don't remember exactly what he did, but I swam her back to the boat. Or, you see, at this point my memory is going because it wasn't like the crucial things. This was back in like 2013. So at this point, I think I signaled to the boat and watched her as she swam to the boat, fully inflated, made sure the captain knew she was coming and that she was okay, and then watched her get out of the water and then descended back down and continued the dive with my students. So what this tells us is people can get panicked by all sorts of things. In this case, it was sharks, and it's not because the sharks did anything crazy or scary. It's just because it was the catalyst after a series of events. And you will be seeing these series of events. Panic doesn't just happen instantaneously. There is a build-up, and you will be able to see it. So make sure to let me know your thoughts down below. I would love to hear your experiences. And this is, part 1 of 3 of Panic Divers in the Dive Stories. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Sorry I've mumbled a bit. It's early in the morning, so I don't know what's going on. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Don't forget to become a Patreon, listen to Ocean Pancake, and all that stuff.